All right, everybody, welcome. Today, we have a great show for you. We're back for CalChiro Live once again. Thanks for joining us. We're really starting to gain some momentum with these live broadcasts. This has been a lot of fun. I know each of the guests that have been on have told me it's a bunch of fun. So I really appreciate everybody being on the live stream with us. Please remember to like and subscribe. If you are a member, let's get you on as a subscriber to the channel. And then liking these videos is so key for us in terms of, raising us up in the algorithm and things of that nature. Today's amazing because our pot is up to $600. So for those of you that like money, you should be on the call with us today or should be on the stream with us. $600 is potentially going to be given away to one member today. Once again, just to review the rules of the live stream, you have to be on the call or on the live stream. You have to comment in the chat. So now would be a good time to comment in the chat just to make sure that your chat works and that you're ready to go. If your name gets called, you'll have 30 seconds to say, hey, I'm here. I want my money. But as we've seen over the last few weeks, not everybody's been here to claim their money. So even though they're winners at heart, they weren't here to claim their money. But, that's good for the rest of us because now we're up to $600. So should be a fun event today once we get to the spinning of the wheel, and looking forward to that. Just a couple of quick announcements. We got our fall conference coming up October 11th through 12th or 13th. So make sure you're checking into that. The room block ends, I believe, at September 1st. So let's make sure we get you set up for that. Incredible venue, going to be a great speaker lineup. I know that we've gotten comments recently from past presidents saying, man, what a balanced, incredible lineup that you guys have going on this year for the fall conference. And the venue's awesome. So I'm going to be there early playing some golf on Thursday. If anybody wants to play some golf with me, hit me up, message me, let me know. Just another quick note, the PI Symposium in San Francisco is coming up the first week of September. That's at the Hyatt in Burlingame area. So that's going to be another great event. If you're into the PI world and doing PI work, we have a panel. One of our panel members was with us last week that shared a lot of great information. So those are just a couple of the things that we have coming up. Always willing to talk with anybody about what we're up to at CalChiro. Love to share with you guys what we're doing on the legislative front, what we're doing on the political action front. And that's one of the reasons that I'm so excited to bring you today's guest. We are going to be welcomed, or we're going to have, let me let him into the studio here just quickly. Joining us today is Bharon Hoag from the Chiropractic Defense Council. I've had an opportunity to interact with Bharon now a number of times. We met way back when, I think at Chiropractic Rocks was the first time we met.
Yeah, I think so.
Adam's old event. And, Bharon's always been a guy that has a lot of information, that does everything he can for the chiropractic profession. And now we've been able to interact a lot more on the animal chiropractic front. So if you're just joining us or if you're not aware, we've been making great efforts at CalChiro through the help of, some instrumental people like Marissa Palmer, Beck Jarzombek, and our Animal Chiropractic Council in either running chiropractic or legislation to legalize chiropractic and just substantiate animal chiropractic. And that's what we wanted to have Bharon on here to help us talk about, because he's been instrumental in that role. So welcome, Bharon. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, I appreciate it very much. Thanks, Dr. Phil. And I'm excited to be here and hopefully shed some light on where things are at right now in this particular front.
That's awesome. Let's just get kicked off then. Let's start with the animal chiropractic infrastructure, or what's going on in that realm.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, obviously the Chiropractic Defense Council is a project for my organization, One Chiropractic. And our goal is really to defend the rights of practicing chiropractors all over the world. And I was originally contacted actually by CalChiro probably about a year and a half ago, stating that they had a couple of doctors that had received cease and desist letters from the vet board
for
practicing veterinary medicine without a license. And so that was really kind of my initial dig into this particular environment. I had had some experience as I was previously the executive director of the Ohio State Chiropractic Association. So we dealt with it in Ohio in our regulatory code.
Okay.
So I had some experience coming from that position, but it wasn't a big fight. It was more of a clarification of language. And then obviously my daughter is a chiropractor. She is about certified in this as well. So I've seen it from her perspective as a provider,
Yeah.
what that whole thing looks like. So when we started digging into this, the first thing I always do whenever anyone brings me a problem is I try to take a 30,000 foot level and look at the environment and understand really where everyone's coming from, what's happening, why things are happening the way that they are. And it shouldn't have surprised me, but it did. For as small as the animal chiropractic space really is across the United States, it's a very dysfunctional environment.
Yeah.
What I mean by that is we have the American Veterinary Chiropractic Association, the International Veterinary Chiropractic Association. We've got all of these very passionate chiropractors that have been certified in this space. We have a lot of chiropractors that aren't certified, but have been treating animals in the shadows for decades or have
Sure.
relationships with veterinarians in their local community. But there's no consistency. At the time we started working on it, there were only 6 states that had language that allowed chiropractors direct access to see these animals without any type of referral or supervision from a vet. But I started looking at it, who's doing what in that space? Is there any advocacy arm? And really there wasn't. All I found were just very passionate chiropractors
Sure.
trying to get their state associations to work on it. But, I'm a state association guy. I will be forever. I love state associations. I obviously ran one for a number of years, but I also understand the handcuffs that are associated to that. In most states, you have maybe 40 to 50 certified chiropractors, and an association cannot use all of its legislative clout for something that's really only going to help not even 1% of their membership, right? So
Sure.
that's very frustrating to those 40 individuals that are very passionate because that's their way of life.
Yeah.
But it's been this hurdle where a lot of state associations do not want to open up the Practice Act, do not want to do this when it only affects such a small percentage of chiropractors. And so when we started doing the research, we understood that, and we knew that, okay, I don't think anyone else is going to pick this thing up because it doesn't really affect enough of the masses to really invest that type of time and money into it, which is why we decided to definitely pick it up, that we were built in a way that we can sustain these types of battles across the entire nation without it really having to bring in a ton of money. And so we've been on for the last year and a half. I've met with everybody in the industry. I've met with the AVCA, the IVCA, with all the major players around the country, with the majority of the state associations, with the Federation of Chiropractic Licensing Boards, with Chiro Congress, with everybody that has kind of a stake in this particular movement, sitting down, explaining to them what our goal is. And our goal is very simple: to make sure that in all 50 states, there's very standard language that allows those individuals that have a certification from AVCA or IVCA or an equivalent education, 210 hours plus passing the test, that they have the ability to have direct access. Those that choose not to be certified, it'd be very similar to what it is in most states, which it would require some type of interaction with the vet. But those that have taken the 210 hours above and beyond their normal core competency in chiropractic, they have the knowledge and the ability to be able to go direct without having to have any supervision or referral. So that's the framework. That's the environment that we're dealing with right now. And obviously, in most states, the veterinary associations and the veterinary boards are very territorial. They don't want to see anyone treat an animal other than a vet, or the vet to be in control if someone else is treating them.
Sure.
So we've kind of run into some walls. There are 7 states right now that have favorable language, meaning language that allows those that are certified to be have direct access. And we have 5 states right now where we're actively working in that. And we have California, Texas, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, and Washington State. And then we're getting ready to start working in Florida on this. I just met with the Florida Chiropractic Association, and they're getting ready to start working on this language as well. So what we've been doing over the last year and a half is collecting all of the information necessary, having had conversations with stakeholders in individual states. We know what the primary objections are. So we've collected all the material to be able to address those objections. and we're ready to sit down and actually have the conversations and move this legislation forward.
Well, we're so grateful to you at CalChiro for all of your efforts and what you've put behind this. It feels eerily similar to me when chiropractic was trying to get licensure.
100%.
As I've talked to people about this, I'm like, man, history's repeating itself. And
Yeah.
I have animals. I've had horses my whole life growing up, and they're show horses, and I've seen how people utilize chiropractic as part of the performance of the horses. And
Absolutely.
that's been something that's near and dear to my heart. So can you touch on a little bit the educational model that exists, or that we will hope will exist?
Yeah, certainly. So there is an infrastructure, right? There is right now, if a chiropractor was going to say, I'm going to get serious about treating animals, which I'm just going to go on a little bit of a soapbox here because I've witnessed
Sure.
this with my daughter, and it's kind of changed my whole perspective of the future of growing a chiropractic office. And so my daughter graduated from Sherman. May was a year for her in practice. And she started her animal chiropractic training right immediately when she got done with chiropractic school. And she has built her practice with primarily seeing animals. The miracles that the owners see in their animals lead to the conversation that gets the owners into the practice.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. And the amount of money that can be made by seeing animals, because people will pay way more money for their animals to be taken care of than they will themselves.
Yeah.
So she's getting paid very well for treating the animal. And it's one of the best marketing deals to get the entire family into care, because the animals are the miracles that we used to see in humans decades ago, right? Where it's like one treatment. Yeah, it's insane. And these owners are, it's either chiropractic works or we're putting our dog down, or we're putting the horse down, right? So it's pretty amazing that the owners at that last ditch effort, they get adjusted 1 or 2 times and the animal's back to normal. And they're like, holy crap, what just happened?
Right.
And it opens up a door to have an honest conversation about the power of the adjustment. So I'm a firm believer that chiropractors, before they put $180,000 decompression in their office, or they spend $180,000 on lasers, and I have nothing against any of that stuff, but purely from a business and entrepreneurial mindset, you'd make more money with less overhead starting to see animals than you would bringing all of that other stuff that requires another staff member and all that other stuff. So it's just been amazing to me watching the economic impact of it, as well as the clinic growth aspect with my daughter. So if you were a chiropractor that said, yeah, I want to take this animal chiropractic thing seriously, there are 4 to 5 schools around the United States where you can go and take the program. It's 210 hours is what's required in order to be certified. So there's 2 in Texas. There's ACES, which is where my daughter went, and then Parker Chiropractic College or University, whatever they're calling themselves. They have a animal chiropractic program as well. There's another really good size one in Kansas City called Options. And then there's a couple other smaller ones. Those typically are more for the veterinarians than they are chiros.
Right.
But those are kind of the 3 main schools that chiropractors will go to. ACES in Texas will allow you to do it over a span of time, and you just have to give up 3 long weekends. But you can do the rest of it online. So it makes it easier for someone that's in practice to be able to do it without it really impacting their ability to go to school. Options is a 5 weeks straight. So you would have to carve out 5 weeks. You go, you wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, get it done. And then you're certified the day that you leave. So it's if you want to get it done and get it done in a hurry, that's the way to do it. You're just going to have to give up 5 weeks in practice. But the ACES allows it to happen. And I believe that a Parker is going to be similar to ACES, where you can kind of still do it while you're in your clinic. So you take these 210 hours. It's a combination of classroom and lab, where you're working and doing it. Once you're done with those hours, once you've graduated the school, then you need to be certified. If you go to Options in Kansas City, you immediately take the International Veterinary Chiropractic exam. It happens right there at Options. You take that at the conclusion of your schooling, and you would then be certified. If you go to any other school, once you conclude your training at the school, then you would need to sit for the AVCA exam, and that happens in September in Oklahoma, and then you would be certified. So think of the schools as our chiropractic schools, Life, Sherman, Northwestern, all that stuff, and then think of AVCA and IVCA as MBCE.
Okay.
They're the ones that do the testing to validate the education that you got in the schooling. Once you have those, then in the 7 states that we have right now, you can market and go direct to consumer without any issues.
Okay.
And that's the work we're trying to do across the country.
And I mean, like you said, there's money in this because that's why they're coming after us. That's why they're trying to say, hey, well, you guys are on to something here. Like, we better take control of this market share again. We don't want to let this go too far, and I've seen that, firsthand with some of the vets that I've interacted with in the horse world and things like that. But can you touch a little bit on some of the issues that we're facing, I guess, in this arena?
Yeah. So again, the primary issue we're dealing with is turf, right? So you have the vet associations and the vet boards. And the real problem with this thing, and this is where there's a lot of confusion for people in this. So these letters, as I stated in the very beginning, when a doctor gets a cease and desist letter from a vet board,
right,
their chiropractic license is not in jeopardy. The vet board cannot do anything to a chiropractic license because they do not regulate that license. What can happen is if they feel that you're practicing veterinary medicine without a license, then they go to the attorney general and they actually file a lawsuit against you, which could be a misdemeanor type lawsuit or a felony, depending on how egregious they really want to go.
Yeah.
If they win in that court and they literally get you for practicing veterinary medicine without a license, which would be extremely difficult for that to happen. But in the event that they did, then you would get hit with a crime, a misdemeanor,
right,
or a felony. That would then have to be reported to the Chiro board. The Chiro board would have to decide what to do with your chiropractic license based on whatever it was that you were found guilty of in that trial. So I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that's still not scary.
Yeah.
But there's nothing the vet board can do to your chiropractic license. The worst they can do is try to sue you for practicing veterinary medicine without a license. So this argument that we're having is it's a baseless argument because they're thinking we're asking for every single chiropractor to have direct access, which is not what we're asking. And this was something, I'll be honest, my view has changed on this topic after watching my daughter go through this training. I'm a diehard chiropractic fanatic. The adjustment's all powerful. You guys are well trained to do it. Let you do it. There's very little danger involved with doing a proper adjustment. Go at it.
Yeah.
But when my daughter started getting the education, and she would tell me, man, this is way different than doing humans. The anatomy is very different. The line of drive is very different because of the range of motion and because of the size of the muscles in these animals. It's just a very different thing than human. And her ability to actually have a more appropriate adjustment after she got trained was much higher than what it would have been had she not. And so I was like, wow, well, okay, maybe this is a different arena. And maybe we really should be making sure people are educated before they're out there massively telling people they're going to adjust animals.
Yeah.
And so when we started digging into this and looking at the legislation that was successful in those 7 states and what we wanted to model as we were going through the rest of these states, we just said, this is what's fair. And what's fair is we have to stop those people that don't have any education at all from doing this. Because right now we have weekend warriors that'll go to these mobilization weekend events. They're not chiropractors. They're not vets. These are just people that are going to these weekend events. And then they're going out saying that they can do a chiropractic adjustment on these animals. So from my perspective, part of the reason this has to happen is we need language under the Chiro board that empowers the Chiro board to go after those individuals that do not have even the slightest amount of education and calling it a chiropractic adjustment. So we have to empower the chiropractic board to be able to go and protect people from all of the zealots out there. The other part that I wanted for this, and this is kind of the strategy, if you will, and there's no secret to this because I'm saying it right to the vets. But right now in the state of California, I think we have about 80 certified chiropractors in the entire state. What we're moving through right now, all that does is allow those 80 people to go direct.
Okay.
So we're telling the vet board, listen, you think that we're wanting 10,000 people to automatically start seeing animals in their clinic. That's not what this legislation does. This legislation, actually, you should be in favor of it because we agree there are people doing this work that shouldn't be doing it. And there needs to be language under the Chiro board to empower them to be able to go and do it. Yeah. So this should be something you support because we're only asking for 80 people to do it. right?
Yeah,
Now, you and I know that once this pathway is created, there will be more chiropractors that'll go and get certified, and that number will grow, but it's not going to grow to 10,000 because
sure.
there's no way that every single chiropractor in California is going to want to go and get certified in animal chiropractic. So I'm trying to explain to the vet board that this is a win-win for them, that this is way better than anything else we could be going after. And if they just understood the actual request, then they would be okay with it. Now, the states that have already had this language in place, it's been going flawless. There are no issues.
Yeah,
There, we've talked to malpractice carriers. There's not been a single claim against a chiropractor for hurting an animal, in ever since
yeah,
they've been writing the animal chiropractic coverage. So there is no danger associated to this. And this is what we're trying to explain to the vet boards, that we're not trying, again, as you stated earlier, this is very similar to the Wilkes case,
yeah,
and that we are saying we are separate and distinct. We're not trying to be a vet. We're not treating conditions. We're doing something very separate and distinct, and we want to work in conjunction with the veterinarians. And where that's happening right now, that's the best care that's being delivered to these animals, and the vet would say so too. And
yeah,
so we're just trying to create an environment where there's language that protects those that have the education. There's language that gives the chiropractic board the authority to go after those that don't have the education. And the vets and us understand what it is that we're ultimately after. So those are kind of the things that we're dealing with right now.
I mean, and to your point, I delved into this a little bit earlier in my career because we have had horses and animals, and I was like, wait a minute, there's a need here to like take some advanced education, right? Anatomy, physiology, chemistry, all of the things that go into it. So I think you're spot on with that. And I wanted, just kind of in our last few minutes here, I wanted you to share quickly, what are we doing to try to fix this? What are we doing here in California? Kind of update people.
Yeah.
I will also add before we go into this last segment, if you guys are on the live stream with us, this is the time to text your friends to get on who've been lagging if they want to win the money. So make sure you get them on the stream now. But yeah, just tell us quickly, where are we at and what are we doing?
Yeah, so luckily we have a senator that is just a huge fan of this. One of your members, one of the CalChiro members, is very active in their local legislation. So we have a senator that is very, very in favor of this, and so she's willing to run this thing up. So where we're sitting right now is we have sample language that's been drafted. We've been working with the chiropractic board, getting their buy-in. That's in the process right now. We're going to be having another meeting with them fairly soon. But right now it looks like everybody's on the same page on where we're going. The next step between now and the end of the year is to have 2 or 3 stakeholder meetings with the vet board and vet association, explaining to them the language we're asking for, basically doing what I just did for you, explaining it so that it's not what they think it is. It's legitimately what it is. And then legislation will be introduced in the new session in the new year. I'm choosing to believe that we've done all the due diligence we can. We've already told all the major stakeholders what's going on. So I'm hoping it's going to move fairly quickly because there's not going to be opposition. If there is opposition, the senator is ready to fight. We will do the testimonies. We will go and expose the ignorance of the vet board and the vet association if they really do want to oppose it, because every argument that they've already presented to the senator, we've been able to rebut. They haven't had not one single argument that's justified as to why this shouldn't happen. So we're very confident when we start launching this in the new year that it should be a relatively simple process. And because there's successful states already in the United States, so we have those case examples, California wouldn't be the first. And because we've addressed all of the major concerns, I'm not expecting it to be a battle. If it is, we're ready. But I think this is going to end up being a relatively good move. And I can't thank CalChiro, Dawn, and you and everybody else has done such a phenomenal job of working with us. We try our best to make sure we're working with the state association whenever we go into a state. And you guys have just been fantastic to work with. So I appreciate everything you guys have been doing as well.
It has been so awesome, man. It gets me fired up when we're on these calls and, we have all our ducks in a row and we have our data together and we've got someone like Marissa going out and getting the legislative support that she's been getting. And I got to say, if you're on this call, if you know anybody who is into animal chiropractic, that's interested in animal chiropractic, please encourage them to become a member. Encourage them, if they've been a member, encourage them to become a political action committee contributor, because these things don't get done without that. It doesn't magically happen. I hate to tell you, Just showing up and going to work isn't going to get it done, kind of thing, right? And I get frustrated sometimes. I've been trying to reach out to people and encourage them to become members or contribute, because we've got to be in that room. We've got to be on the floor when it comes time to when the vote comes down. We got to have the votes before it ever comes to a vote, which means we need to do our diligence now. We need to be able to tell them we have this many members that are supporting this type of thing. And we need to be able to go to the fundraisers and go to the events that are going to make a difference, to let them know that chiropractors mean business when it comes to this, and stand up for chiropractic like it should be stood up for, because we're not going back to the early 1900s. Going to jail then, no big deal, right? Going to jail now,
it's a different story. Yeah.
Story, right? So, all right. Well, I'll get off my soapbox a little bit here, but okay, final chance, everybody. Let your friends know that we're about to go spin the wheel of names to win the money. But before we do that, I wanted to give Bharon just a chance to wrap up, tell us how to connect with him, how to get involved in his organization, and a little bit about his organization, because, like I said, very grateful for all of your efforts.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, again, we're defending chiropractic everywhere around the world. We're in 9 different countries. We do a lot of work in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, South Africa, Indonesia, a lot of those areas. Really, we're very simple. You can go to defendchiropractic.org. Very simple, defendchiropractic.org. Really, we're funded on contributions, but the only thing we ask for is $33 a month. Our whole goal is to get 10,000 chiropractors around the world contributing $33 a month. And that gives us all the money we need to be able to fight any fight that comes at us anywhere in the world. And so we've got some exciting things coming up in the next year with insurance. We're going after insurance companies for things like clawbacks. We're going after them for the monopolistic method of the provider contracts that they force chiros to sign. So we've got some other big battles that we're going to be taking on to defend the rights of chiropractors. But yeah, that strikes a chord for you. We'd love to have you under our umbrella as well. But by all means, don't do CalChiro. And then make sure that after that, we would love to have you about. That's why we do the little bit, because we don't want to interfere with you being a part of anything else that you need to be a part of. But we appreciate the opportunity. Feel free to reach out to me. You can get me through that website as well. If I've done anything where you have additional questions, just reach out and we'll make sure we get you all the information you need.
Awesome, man. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time and your efforts. It's been great to work with you. So,
well, thank you.
All right. You want to stick around for the Wheel of Names?
Yeah, let's see who wins the money. Let's do it.
All right, cool. This is, let me bring Vanna White. Well, Vanna doesn't show herself, but the wheel comes up and we have Vanna ready to spin the wheel. We're going to do 6 names today, 6 names for 600. You're going to have, remember, 30 seconds to chime in on the chat. If your name gets called, you have to be live on the chat right now with us. You have to be a member. Everybody who's on the Wheel of Names is a member. So if you're not a member, your name's not going to come up. But if your name gets picked on the wheel, 30 seconds, chime in the chat. You've got a chance to win $600 today. And let your friends know it's going to be going quick. If we don't have a winner today, we'll go up to $700 next week. And we're going to do 6 names. So Tiffany, Miss Tiffany Vanna, will you spin our first name? Here we go. We need some music in the background. I think we got to get some Jeopardy music or something like that. Okay, Dale Gooseman, you have 30 seconds starting now. Let's do it. But yeah, it's one of the things I would love to talk to you more about too, just because I want to do more to reach out to more animal chiropractors out there and let them know how much we're trying to do. And I don't think a lot of people know our efforts. So if you're on the stream with us, let your friends know all that we're doing. Dale, you got 10 seconds. I'm not seeing Dale yet. If anybody's trying to text Dale, let him know he's got 5 seconds, because he just won $600, but he's not here to claim it. So thanks so much for that first spin, Miss Tiffany. Let's go to our second spin. Here we go. I like to see some of my animal chiropractic friends on here. Looks like you're getting a lot of love on the chat, Bharon. So everybody's a fan of you and your work that's on the chat with us. Oh, Andrea Hightower. I know her. Former board member, Andrea Hightower, member of the Sacramento District. Usually, well, if Andrew's on here with us, you better get a hold of Andrea real quick. She's got 20 seconds now to Sorry, I forgot to tell you the timer started. She's got 20. Now she's down to 15 seconds to come and claim her money. Last week, my boss at the college, I'm an adjunct professor at Life West, Dr. G won, but she wasn't here to collect her money. You've got 5 seconds, Andrea, but I don't see you getting on the chat right now. So, all right. Oh, gosh. Let's do our third name here, Miss Tiffany. The tension's mounting. I can see our viewership starting to go up. $600. That'll get you a visit to.
Good night at the bar, man.
Asian Musavi. I think I did a pretty good pronouncing that name. You got 30 seconds starting now. Asian Musavi. But I think we've been building some momentum with this. I could tell there's a little bit of a buzz going on with it, and it's been a fun exercise, a fun thing to do.
I love it. It's such a great idea.
Yeah, you got 15 seconds, Asian. 15 seconds. Yeah, it's been fun, and I think it's a great way to build some community in the organization. Asian, you're down to 5 seconds. 5 seconds to come and claim your money. You're a winner, but it doesn't look like today you're here to collect. So let's do our third name, or we're on our fourth name. Excuse me. Fourth name coming up. Yeah, Tiffany, we're going to have to work on some music in the background, like Jeopardy or something like that. Jacob Lilly, you've got 30 seconds starting now. This has been something we've been brainstorming for a while, searching for guests. If you guys know of any guests that would be a good fit for us here on the CalChiro Lives, please let me know or message me. We've got one spot available in September to fill. So everybody's been very excited about this. All right, Jacob, you got 10 seconds. I don't see Jacob on the chat. So 5 seconds, here we go. Everybody that's on the chat's excited because they got another shot. All right, that's the time. So let's do we're on our fifth name here. $600 will pay for some CalChiro conference and some travel and some stuff like that. So that's nothing to sneeze at. I'd show up for $600, no problem.
Yeah, buddy.
Christopher Spence, you've got 30 seconds starting now. Yeah, I know Christopher Spence. I think Christopher's down in the San Diego area, part of the San Diego chapter. If any of my San Diego friends are on here, we got to get you guys fired back up. We got to put together an event down in the San Diego area. I'm trying to work with my buddy Rich Doss and my buddy Dr. TJ Goodilin about putting on an event down in San Diego for CalChiro. You've got 10 seconds right now, Chris Spence. I don't see you on the chat, though, so you're probably not here to claim your money. Yes, we got 2 and 1, and okay. All right, this is going to be our final name, final chance. Here we go. I got to start doing the math on, I think Miss Dawn Benton told me there's like 1,400 names in the wheel of names. Correct me if I'm wrong. Parasatu Rashidian. Ooh, I know Parasatu. Parasatu, you have 30 seconds starting now. Parasatu, she's a brand new graduate, so I know she could use $600.
Yeah, buddy.
She lives in the LA area. I know that she could attend our fall conference in Palm Springs, not too far, only about an hour drive. Hey, as a side note, $29 flights today on Southwest. Check that out if you're going on to Ontario. So check that out. You've got 10 seconds, Parasatu. I'm going to have to text her and let her message her on Facebook. I tried to help her find a job one time, but she ended up starting her own clinic, so she's doing okay, I guess. All right, that's time, everybody. So we don't have a winner this week, which means good news for everybody. Going up to $700 next week, $700. Make sure you like and subscribe on the channel for us. Put the fall conference in your calendar, October 11th through 13th. We're going to have a good time down there. I know it's going to be fun. So looking forward to it. Don't forget the PI symposiums coming up in September in the Bay Area. And we will see you guys next week. Thanks so much, Baron.
Thanks so much.